How do you live like this? Why keep going?
Well, one good question deserves another. Why the fuck am I doing all the work? Now, come on, Vaulty. Ass jerky don't make itself.
Because this ghoul is far more cognitive than the ghouls you may have seen in some of the games. Some ghouls are very much like, hey, name's Dave, I have no nose. But some of them are like, Arr.
Yeah, so
progression, kind of like when you get bit from being by a zombie or something. Like they slowly progress to the end state of being feral.
So that's actually new from the show. But we'll get into it. But from the show, they've changed that. It used to be some ghouls went feral, some didn't. There wasn't a lot of rhyme or reason to it. Just some went feral and some didn't. So
okay, fair enough. We get to episode 2, which is it's more of the journey. I think she finally runs into. Oh, we get what's his name? Maximus gets sent out on the journey that I believe his friend was supposed to, the one that got injured.
Yes.
After
Maximus becomes the squire.
Pleads for his life. Yeah, he's a plead for his life, I think, twice. This is one of the first times. Yeah.
Knight Thaddeus, played by Michael Rappaport of being a dumbass fame.
Yeah.
Wait, it's not. What's the knight's name? I thought it was Titus. Am I wrong?
Titus. Did I say it wrong?
Oh,
you think you said Thaddeus?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, Titus. My bad.
Is it? It could be Thaddeus.
No, it's Titus. You're correct. It's Titus.
The thing that they do in the game, or at least in the show, that I thought was funny in the game, is that they have these squires carry the bags of, I'm assuming loot or whatever it is that you gather in the game that just kind of magically disappears on your body. They show you that, hey, there are people that carry these things for you, or at least for the knights themselves. But I thought it was pretty funny. So that is why Maximus is attached to this particular knight.
I don't know if it's something simply created. I mean, if it's one informing the other or win or whatnot. There are allies you can put in your camp, and one of them is a Brotherhood guy, and he has that big bag that just sits there in the corner. Like some of the allies you can set up with a chair, or they have something else. He has just that big bag, and I'm like, was that in 76 well before this, so that they already had kind of incorporated that? I don't know. I'm the one like least amount of info, bro. I know Pat had those existed before.
I have never seen that before, but I had not played 76 before. I was a Fallout 4 and New Vegas person. So
okay. So him and Mike are good sent on a mission. They run into their first mutated bear.
Well, we should say the mission is they are also after whatever this bounty is. So the episode actually starts with
the scientist.
Yes, with the scientist, Dr. Siggy Wilzig.
Yes.
Dr. Siggy Wilzig basically, it's kind of almost it's like seen through his eyes, but it's really seen through the eyes of a puppy that he rescues that they're going to kill, because it turns out that he is with the Enclave, and you're kind of seeing everything through the dog's eyes that he has adopted, who he is hiding in his room because he will get in trouble for having a dog. And you see him inject some sort of blue electronic device into his neck. One of his other scientist friends comes in and sees he has a dog and starts, that's not allowed. You're in trouble. So he kills the other scientist, takes his dog, and gets the hell out of town.
Doesn't the dog attack him?
Well, I think the dog attacks. The dog attacks the scientist, and I forget if it's the doctor kills the guy or if the dog kills the guy. But I'm going to find out right now.
The dog is very loyal. For those who are listening, because he's been watching the scientist for, I'm assuming, at least 8 or 9 years.
The dog's noticed. He's like, no, you saved me. I love you. You're awesome. And dogs are cool.
And so they can sense, danger, I suppose. And then the doctor barely makes it out. Like, he gets past. I don't know how he outruns this turret thing, but him and the dog run past a building full of turrets that shoot at him and the dog. But he makes it past somehow, and he's out into the wild. And then it cuts back to Lucy, I think it is. And
Yes, so it cuts back to Lucy, who is camping out for the night. She's kind of just
that's right.
getting her first taste of the wasteland, and she is suddenly woken up by the doctor sitting at
There
her
we go.
campsite,
Right.
who basically knows who she is somehow, kind of like acts like he knows who she is, and tells her, "Ooh, you should go back to the vault. You lit a fire and fell asleep, and these
At
rad
night.
roaches are going to come kill you, but thankfully I'm here and my dog's here. So we saved your ass, but you should go back to the vault."
I mean, he knows that she's a vault. Well, he doesn't know that she's Lucy McLean, right? Like that's
Well, I think he does.
Later
He
on, we
implies
find
that
out he
he does.
does indeed.
okay.
So
How he knows, I have no idea. I mean,
The
I'm
name
guessing
badge on
she
the
must,
vault suit.
either that or she must look identical to her mom or something like that. Like
She does get told later on that she looks like her mom, or no, earlier she got told that she looks like her mom.
Yeah.
So
She gets told that several times, but I suppose maybe that's where he gets it from. But then he leaves into the darkness like a weirdo, and she goes
he's
on
got
about.
a powerful dog.
Well, no, I mean he literally like kind of just fades into the darkness.
Yeah.
and is out of
He
out of
Batman's
the-
that shit.
Basically, yeah, Batman's her ass. And then
All right,
we
you
cut to
use
the
this
ghouls.
elf boy and just went beep and
Exactly.
No, now we cut to
Maximus
now we can cut back to Maximus
and
hanging out, doing some bullshit.
flying
Uh,
around.
Yep. Maximus
doesn't
and
fly around
Titus
yet. Yeah.
are on the mission for, it seems like, the same target that the ghoul is after. They get dropped off in one of the vertibirds, which are the planes from Fallout, to scope out an area. As they're scoping out, Titus is attacked by a Yagwai, the mutant bear, and is gravely injured. They end up killing the bear. He and Titus do. But
Also,
Max, go ahead. Yes.
Titus is a coward. You should know that.
Oh, yeah, he's a
that is
bitch-ass
kind of
bitch.
kind of a thing. Yeah, he. As soon as he gets attacked, he takes off running.
It's like, oh shit.
So he's in the power suit running away.
Yeah. He flees. He's attacked. He's gravely injured. And Maximus is trying to get the medication called a stim pack to save his life. And as he's doing that, Titus takes off his helmet and basically just starts berating him and telling him, hey, they're going to kill you. This is your fault. You did this. And Maximus realizes, well, if I don't give him the stim pack, he's going to die. So he just kind of sits down.
Yeah.
He's not giving a compelling argument for like, you should really help me. It's like, wait,
Yeah.
what? So I help you, then they kill me?
But this is
Seems like
also
a bad plan.
But this is also part of him not buying fully into the Brotherhood. If you are a convert to the Brotherhood, you would like, oh, this is my knight. I have to save him. Instead, he goes, I could get that armor though. So
Well, to that point, though, I think we explained, or I was trying to say, at the very beginning or at the end of last episode, I forget where it happens. He has to plead for his life before he even gets sent on this mission again. When they accuse him of trying to sabotage his friend,
True.
who I think had their Achilles cut or something. They had a leg injury of some sort.
Yeah, there were someone put razor
Stuck
blades
in
in
There we
their
go.
boot, and
Yeah.
so
So it's pretty bad. And so whoever their leader is of this group or whatever kind of brings him in to interrogate him, but it's in a very threatening manner. And basically they accuse him of sabotaging his friend, which means that he should be put to death. He pleads, saying that I didn't do it. It was never me. And I think his friend eventually comes to his rescue saying it was somebody else or it wasn't him. Or
I think she speaks highly of him because later, like we do have later on, she reveals that she knows who it was.
Okay.
But at the time, I think she just says like,
Right.
no, he's a good dude. I believe in him.
And that's what saves his life in that moment. So, I mean, I said all that to say, to Pat's point, like he doesn't buy in on it because he had to beg to do this part, and now he's being threatened. His life's being threatened once again.
And he was
for
treated
something
like
he didn't
shit
really
in
do.
camp too.
Yeah, he got his ass beat. They threatened his
By
life.
fucking Cheyenne's husband from Superstore. I can't believe his ass has made it through the apocalypse. He's just like giving the bam, bam, bam. I'm like, fuck, you got to be kidding me. This guy
We'll
makes
make
it
him-
through with this.
We'll make it very long, but I can see why he doesn't buy in on that. And also, Titus should have waited until after getting the med pack. You don't really berate someone who's bringing you help. Wait until after you're healed.
But it's
bad
Michael
plan on his-
Rappaport, not a bright guy.
I couldn't tell
Aw.
if this was like real life or if they left the camera on and let him talk, and they were like, "Oh, we'll use this for the
Yeah,
show."
he's a Knicks fan, not a bright guy. Don't know what to tell you. Come at me, Mike. I don't care. Fuck you, Michael Rappaport.
I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
But he was in Hitch and Metro.
Okay.
I only remember as a neo-Nazi from Higher Learning. That was my.
That's how I know him.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. See, I contextual differences here. Like, you know him as a neo-Nazi. I can see you're like, how dare you?
Yeah.
But he was the fun the other guy in Hitch and in.
Let's put it this way: he's
Metro.
less fun these days.
Isn't he the one that shoots Tyra Banks in Higher Learning?
Yes.
In real life? Oh,
Yeah, in real life. I'll go on record right now. Michael Rappaport has murdered Tyra. Breaking it here.
no. You said shot. She didn't have to die, but he shot her in the context
There
of
we
this
go.
conversation.
He shot her.
She could live. It
Well, he thought she was dead.
Yeah, he was very happy with it.
was attempted murder.
So Maximus lets him die out, and he gets the suit. And then we're brought to our culminating scene where I think Lucy is now in some kind of wasteland town-ish area. It looks like kind of like a Western, the way it's set up. And she's trying to barter for information about her dad, I believe, with the lady that's working the pawn shop or something.
The town is called Philly. It's a human settlement. She goes in. She's a little surprised that there are like human towns because she's been told in the vault that when the radiation clears, the vault dwellers will come and resettle society.
Yeah. Well, she also has been walking through the desert for a day or so as well.
Yeah.
Like the first person she ran into was the scientist, but she'd been walking for a minute, not.
And she's basically going from like Santa Monica to the Valley is how far she's walked so far.
Yes. But there's nothing
So
around. It looks much further.
No. So she's in the little settlement called Philly, and yes, she is trying to bargain for information on her dad. When they figure out she's a vault dweller, they kind of tell her to go fuck herself. I think is pretty much
they're annoying.
Yeah, like, oh, you vault dwellers don't know what you're talking about. And as that's happening, another person comes in. Turns out it is the scientist, and he has a deal going on with the person that Lucy's trying to barter with.
He needs transport
to get him. Yeah, he needs transport to get to someone named Moldaver. I'm never going to say it right.
Moldaver. Because it's
Moldaver.
Dave, like Dave. Yeah, Moldaver.
Moldave Coulier.
There you go. Hey, cut it out.
Yeah. And that's when we get Walter Goggins showing up just in the nick of time to ruin everything.
Here comes the ghoul.
But with a lot of swagger, by the way.
Yeah, just walking around.
He's got 200 years of swagger to swag plus.
He does.
So it's fair.
Or you wouldn't happen to be a doctor, would you? Because I happen to be looking for one.
You know your kind ain't welcome here.
Well, maybe not. But I'm gonna make myself welcome.
Yes.
So he shows up with his sawed-off shotgun-ish kind of weapon. I don't know what it is.
Because it turns out this scientist is the one that is on the bounty and is the one that the Brotherhood is looking for.
So
that everyone is looking for.
Everyone except Lucy for right now.
Pretty much, yeah.
So the ghoul shoots his leg off.
Immediately.
Yeah, just like within a second, like pop. All right, well, that's out of the way.
I mean,
He
so here's the thing
establishes,
too. Like he can't run away if he ain't got no foot. Like I'm kind of like, I get it. Like
it's a good point.
That's gonna stop. It's gonna make getting away a lot harder. So I can appreciate that as a person who is tired of people like, oh no, he's like, shoot his leg. Like you need him alive. Like he can't run with what.
Not that
leg.
alive.
Yeah.
Lucy, because she is a fundamentally good person, decides she needs it. She's like, eat the cat. It never hurts to help. It does hurt to help. This is going to go badly for her. She steps out and asks the ghoul to stop doing whatever it is he is doing. He won't do it. So she shoots him with her tranquilizer darts.
Unless you willingly stand down now.
Fucking vault dwellers.
Well, now that is a very small drop in a very, very large bucket of drugs.
And I believe his line is, that is a small drop in a very large ocean of drugs and narcotics.
Yeah, he swallows that tranquilizer pretty easily. And then proceeds to shoot up the town. Well,
But
I
as
think that's right, because the lady who needs to get the scientists out tells everyone in the town, she yells it aloud that if they can kill the ghoul,
thousand
give them
cats.
she will give them essentially a reward. So all of the would-be bounty hunters start coming out of the woodwork to attack the ghoul.
Spoiler alert, doesn't go well.
No.
But at that point, our buddy Maximus, who has let Knight Titus die, now has himself has a sweet suit of power armor.
But he doesn't know how to use it. So again, he comes crashing in.
Well, just real quick, it should also be noted that the ghoul does shoot the dog, whose formal name is CX404. The dog tries to attack.
Oh, that's right.
Son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The dog
Asshole.
tries to attack the ghoul for shooting, for threatening their master or the scientist, Wilzig, and gets shot.
But don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, this is a video game or based on a video game. So the dog gets a shot and he's back to 100%.
And
Yeah,
at that
because
point,
We don't know what happens to the wound, but it's video game logic. So don't worry.
Well,
about
yeah, no, it's legit video game logic because later on he gets a stim and just like, oh, I'm good. Like that's fine. I just my dial went back up to 100. It's fine. Like, which I'm like, I was like, wait, no. Even in the all right, that's just the science of this world that is Voltec.
I went with it.
It's
I
fine.
didn't question it. Yeah.
yeah.
And I mean, you can't. It's video. It's very much video game logic, and you're like, all
Well,
right.
because we're also seeing in this exact scene that the ghoul is he can't be killed with bullets, apparently, at least not into his body.
He takes a couple bullets, and that is a change from the video game. The video game, ghouls are immortal in that they are mutated humans due to radiation exposure, so they're not going to die of old age or radiation poisoning, but you can shoot them.
But it takes
You can still shoot him.
I think it's a war of attrition when it comes to a ghoul. So maybe it's the same with him. Like if he gets enough damage, he will fall over.
Yeah. As
damage
seen
the right
later
area.
on.
You can grab his ass.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I don't think they need to breathe.
I don't think he needs to breathe. Yeah.
I haven't run into that instance in the game where water's been deep enough for that to happen. So I don't know.
Keep playing.
Hey, whoever is commenting, telling us we're wrong, could you let us know if ghouls can breathe underwater or if they need to breathe? Thanks.
Inquiring minds like to know.
And please cite the game that happens because we're curious. We love the facts.
or the Wikipedia page from Made Up.
And don't you go change it right now. Don't you go change it. We'll know.
No. Oh, okay.
Just reply to your own comment and add it. Thank you.
There we go. So we have the shootout. Like I said, Maximus comes crashing in, not knowing really how to use the suit. You get a brief moment of like his heroism. You're like, oh, this guy's gonna save the day, and immediately the ghoul kind of tracks him and figures out that this is an amateur, and proceeds to dismantle the suit and leave him immobile.
Yeah.
And Lucy and I believe the scientist, during the commotion between Maximus and the ghoul, make out the back door.
So it turns out the junk lady that was paid to get the scientist safe passage basically tasked Lucy with taking him to Moldaver because that is the only way she will get answers about her father. Since everybody kind of knows who she is, and she doesn't know who anybody is, and the scientist kind of says the same thing. So because this is Fallout, they put a robot leg on the scientist that is only like 50% good to go.
She does a quick 5-minute surgery.
Yeah, even say like it's a robot, like it's just a bucket with a foot on it. Like it's very like
picture a hotel
matches itself.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
It activates itself. Also, like, where's the pain stims? Like, we have stims that can like kill pain, like revive an animal in the blink of an eye, but you can't give him a pain. Like, he doesn't have integrated pain reliever. Like,
they didn't pay that much.
No, exactly. That's the part that's crazy.
They don't need him to feel nice.
Yeah, fair enough.
Just get out there. his ass and Lucy limp out the back door. The ghoul, after disabling Titus and sending him flying, or Maximus is sending him flying off via the jetpack on the back of the power armor, flying away, actually then shows his previous humanity and heals the dog that he had injured. And the dog, turns out, though, he does that because the dog will track his former friend.
He's a smart ghoul. This ghoul is
I mean,
knocked out.
I feel like are we jumping around with thoughts here? Because
Sure, why
I
not?
definitely,
Yeah, good.
I definitely appreciate it because like later on we do have a story for when in the ghouls pre-war history. He's like, no, I love dogs. Like he had a dog of his own, and he genuinely cared about dogs, and I'm like, that's cool. And I appreciate that we get that point later on because it's that
I
was
feel like I'm being called out here, Ken.
I mean that's something you might want to reflect on yourself then. But
I feel like I don't need to. We've tackled this beast.
that's the division. This is Fallout. So we are working on two different games.
Fair enough.
But just
Okay.
no,
Are
I'm
you
saying that
murdering dogs in Division?
And
I'm not murdering dogs. I'm defending myself. Thank you. Not murdering.
Wait, is this like a
anybody.
stand your ground thing because you're in Florida?
It's because the dogs are attacking us, and I'm defending our group. Yeah. What is your? How hard is this to understand?
So you're a
Where's the complication?
dog killer.
Point A, point B.
I mean, by attacking us, do you mean that they stand aside and they bark at you, or
No.
I gu- I'm-
Those dogs have attacked us, and the ones that haven't would have. Thank you.
Preemptive counterattack rears its ugly head yet again.
no? But I do appreciate because
Yeah.
again, this is all like future knowledge, but like he has an opportunity. Coop has an opportunity to go to the vaults, and he's like, wait, we can't bring the dog? Like, why can't we bring the dog? Like, oh, because there's too many variables, and that's just one more. I'm like, but like for depending on you as a pet owner, your pets are your family. Like you want them to live with you as long as possible. And he's like, no, why wouldn't like we're paying how much to go into a vault? Why can't we get in with the dog too? Like, and I'm with him, by the way. That completely makes sense. Like,
I think we're all on agreement with you on that one too.
Well, not you. You just want him in there to murder him.
I mean,
Self-defense.
Pat it down,
Jesus.
Dexter.
Again,
But
you saw
dive,
that
motherfucker.
episode with the cows. They'd kill you if they give it half a chance.
Don't kid yourself, Jimmy. If a cow ever got the chance, he'd eat you and everyone you care about.
Well, it's true. Troy McClure, if he taught me anything, it's the cows are murderers.
yeah, but yeah, you must be going to Bovine University.
I love you, Dr. Sayus.
Best episode ever. So yeah, we get Lucy walking with the doctor. I think at some point, I mean, it's not gonna be too hard to track him because he's trailing gallons of blood as they're walking.
And the doctor kind of realizes this and is
not
like,
gonna make
at the
it,
end
yeah.
of the episode goes, oh, well, I'm not going to make it. So I took one of these handy Voltec suicide pills that I just happened to have.
I
Thanks,
didn't tell you about
Voltec.
it half an hour ago.
Hey, Voltec, good product, still working 200 and whatever years later. Good job, Voltec.
Yeah.
Good on you. And she says, hey, well, you need to cut my head off and take my head to Moldaver. Don't
He
worry,
says,
this
yeah.
will be fine. And he gives her a saw to cut his fucking head off.
Yes.
And she says, okie dokie,
Yes.
and does it. And that's how the episode ends.
Pretty much.
I really thought we were going to get through all of Fallout in one recording, but Ken is already yawning. So I can see where this is going.
Yeah.
Through 4 episodes, guys. We can do it. Let's do this.
2 more.
It's there's only oh god, did I lose track of it already? I had it. There's only 8 episodes in this season.
Yes.
Am I wrong? Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. We
It's-
can get the next. We can even get the next 2 real quick.
Yeah, we can. I believe in us. No, I thought we were going to get through 8. I mean, like,
I thought we were
flying
too,
through.
but I
I-
forgot
well,
how much is packed into these episodes.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, and it's interesting too because it's like there's not a lot of filler. Like it's interesting, like as we move further with more shows that are like, oh no, this is only 8 episodes. Like all of us were raised on maybe 22
27
episode
episodes,
seasons,
yeah.
27 depending on the series, and like oh no, when it's just 8, like it's just boom. It's jam packed full of stuff, and you want to touch on the many points as you can. So.
Not an anti-drug use episode in the entire thing.
Mm-mm.
That's what we're missing out with the Dare episodes.
Yeah.
Or my next door neighbor's friend or whatever can't go home because his parents are violent.
Or
Remember
like,
those episodes? Talking about Two Boy Meets World.
A little too close there, buddy. A little too close.
Wait, which is the molest one? Who had the molest episode?
I mean, Minnie did, but the first one that I can think of was Different Strokes, where it's that's the keynote one. Like that's the one that everyone.
Yep.
Not gonna lie, I always kind of thought maybe the molester was the dad, the old man that was just adopting children.
How is this darker than how is going back to those shows
Fallout.
darker than Fallout? That's
not. It's the more we talk, the less it is.
Yeah. Oy.
All right, so we pick up at episode 3 that isn't any of that dark shit we just talked about.
Yeah,
With
no
the ghoul finding
molestation that
with
we're aware
the
of.
ghoul finding a headless guy. So as much as we talked about abusive parents, and
finding a headless guy.
he finds the headless doctor.
I thought you said fighting, and I'm like, did I miss that episode?
No, him and the dog find the doctor. I think this is where he starts using the dog to track now. Because,
they literally see Lucy's tracks in the sand too. It's like, okay.
Yes.
At this point, Maximus has figured out how to get the power armor up and running again. After
a fight with some locals.
Yeah, he kicks some local asses, steps on some heads, crushes some bitches, as he does.
Well, hold on. Don't make it sound like he ran. He almost got murdered. He
did
barely
almost
got
get
out of
murdered.
that suit. Yeah.
But he finds the piece he needs, kills all the locals, like bashes one of their heads in with his hand. Just
crushes it.
Well, I mean,
crushes it. Good clean call out fun.
You say kills all the locals. This isn't like Anakin killing all the sand people. He kills the 3 guys that accosted him. Like,
Well, they're still locals.
But not. I mean, you said all of the locals. Like he didn't take out the entire village and
Well,
the women and the children.
All the rest, so.
Yeah.
That's on the ghoul. That's not on him.
And Maximus
again,
would.
These 3 guys were because he had left his suit open. I think was So he had
'Cause
wandered
he's
off, left
bad
his suit
at
open.
this.
Finders keepers, me lord.
And
Because
as
he
to
needed
points-
to get a piece fixed that was like that he sold his teeth for.
That's right. He ends up going to the lady, right? Like the same lady who
Yeah.
got Lucy and the doctor out.
No.
He goes to somebody else in town.
He goes
and
to another
sells one of
workshop.
his teeth to get.
He doesn't go to
part
her?
he needs.
No.
Okay. All right, fair enough. He goes to somebody else. I could have swore it was her, but he goes to somebody else, sells enough to get the part that he needs for the suit. But because he had to leave the suit's left open. When he comes back, there were 3 gentlemen that are kind of picking through it or trying to figure out a way to move it because they can probably either sell it or use it. And he tries to get it back, and they beat the shit out of him.
And then he powers up.
He does the wrestling move where he stomps his foot and uses his last bit of energy.
I put
He
it
does
around.
the point.
There we
shakes
go.
his
There you-
finger and
switch.
shakes his head, and he leg
It's like a
drops him.
switch
Yeah. Ooh,
And
so
then it
good.
over the top.
You look like what's the name from Limp Bizkit when you do that?
Oh God! How
Yeah.
dare you? I didn't
Just
come
saying.
here to be insulted.
Hey, guys,
Okay.
Let's
Jesus.
just keep rolling along, all right?
What?
Come on.
Yeah,
I know y'all be loving this shit right here.
And that's basically how he survives this attack is because I think one of them lifts him up high enough that he can shift his arm into his suit's arm,
Yeah, and he
Crushes
grabs
some
the dude,
guy's head.
crushes the dude's head.
which
It's
shocks
good.
the other guys. Yeah, and then he
Yeah.
manages to kill the other 2 guys, or kills one of them, and the other guy runs off. I think it was it.
He gets the main little Weasley dude, and that's the biggest important thing.
Yeah. Well, when that happens, then the Brotherhood calls and says, "Hey, you haven't reported in. Everything okay?"
Well, because they're
Maximus-
expecting to talk to Titus.
Titus.
By the way, yeah.
Maximus freaks out and tells him, "My squire's dead." And he's like, "Oh, we'll give you a new one. No worries at all." So that's a problem for Maximus
Later on.
So yeah, he has to kind of hide in the suit a little bit.
And
Maximus-
it's I was gonna say, sorry to interrupt. It's kind of clear too, like that on the upper levels, like they're aware of just like the the falsehoods that they're like, oh yeah, we'll just get you another one. It's fine, because they speak very flippantly, like it's fine, we'll get you another one. It's no problem. We got a dozen of them in the back. We'll just grab one and throw it to you. Like it's clear that on the upper levels they know the bullshit they're spreading, but like it's interesting to see that later on we have the one guy who's still like, oh no, the devoutness of the Brotherhood. Where it's like many people are just like, no, it's all bullshit. Let's just go do the thing.
Either that, or they just really don't value the lives of the squires to ask any further questions.
Yeah,
the squires are cannon fodder. What are you gonna do? They're not paladins. They're not knights.
You had a track dog or something, and they're like, all right, the track dog died. All right, send another one.
What's this anti-canine like sentiment you just spewing on the podcast?
Just saying.
I get it. If it was a cat, I'd prefer it, but it's what we can do.
Must Hate Dogs, I think, is Kareem's favorite movie. Best joke I tell all year.
That was a good one.
Maximus, it turns out that Maximus's new / Titus's new squire is none other than, what's his name?
The guy that's whooping his ass.
Bullying him earlier.
Yeah. You said the guy from what you call it, right?
Yeah, he's the guy from Superstore. That's what I know him as.
Yeah,
he's the guy.
Okay, so he's Thaddeus. Okay,
yeah, Titus.
Yes, is his new squire. So that hijinks are going to ensue there. Meanwhile, Lucy is continuing to travel along, not knowing the ghoul is hot on her tail. Excuse me. Not knowing the ghoul is hot on her tail. Lucy ends up near a body of water where she finds out there's a big monster in there.
Yeah. Giant.
Called a gulper, who actually swallows the head of the Dr. Wilzig.
Yes.
Yes.
And the ghoul catches up to her at that exact moment and basically overpowers her and uses her as bait.
Yeah, and at this point he has oh no, the dog's still there. Okay, yeah. Uses her as bait to get the gulper.
Yeah, so he literally hangs her over the body of water, drops her in every now and then to kind of tease the water. The gulper eventually comes out of the water to grab her, and they have a little battle, and she can pull. She ends up pulling the head out, right?
No. She grabs. Sorry, go ahead, Ken.
I was gonna say, just because I know that later on it's Thaddeus and
You're right,
and Maximus to get the head. And that's and also like the horror, like that, like the part. This is the part in the show that like hit me in the grossness is you see like that the gulpers, like I thought they were like little tentacles or like whatever feelers you want to say, that they're pulling their fingers, like human fingers.
Like,
yeah, that was one there because they're like moving, and then that's how they like pull in.
Food. It's body horror. Not for me. I was roast the fuck out.
So yeah. So wait, how does she get out of the situation again?
I think that she bites his like. I don't remember.
She cuts herself free, doesn't she? Somehow.
She grabs the ghoul's bag.
Oh, and breaks some of his.
When
she hits the gulper with the bag, breaking his vials that he needs, and after the thing goes away, he's like, damn it, you broke my thing. I might as well just trade you in to get more of my medicine, because my medicine is more important to me than your life and your mission and all that other bullshit. Like that's the highest priority is my medicine.
Yeah. So at that point, he basically says, okay, you're coming with me, Lucy. Doggy, you stay here. CX404 leaves the dog and takes Lucy off to parts unknown. We'll know them in a few minutes when we talk about episode 4.
Okay,
right now
we got to talk about though, because she's gonna be missing a finger after this scene. I forget who instigates.
No, that's in the next episode.
No, it's this one.
Is it 3? I thought it was 4.
Yeah, I think she bites his finger and he cuts hers off. It is like an eye for an eye kind of thing.
Yeah, but that's before they get to the medical place.
Yeah, it's next episode. Spoiler alert.
Is it?
Yeah, it's fine. Okay. It happens.
I thought it was on the dock there.
No. It happens on the road to the place.
Yeah,
because she tries to get away, and he makes her drink horrible water. It's a whole thing.
We'll get to it.
You're right.
Let's get into it. But before all that happens, we go back to Vault 33, where it turns out Norm, Lucy's brother, has been assigned to basically feed all of the prisoners, the raiders that they had captured that had been trying to kill them, and they are keeping them prisoners. And Norm asks if they can be killed in front of the whole group, and the interim overseers, including Betty,
The council.
the council, kind of tell him that is not okay. And Betty basically says, "Oh, Norm's joking. He's not serious." And she has to have a conversation with him about like his words carry weight and have meaning.
Well, beyond that, we also have to mention that he's wandered further into the vault with his cousin now at this point to see that.
Yeah.
When they first opened the vault, unlike their vault, which was thriving, the vault that they go into is a desolate area, like where there should have been farm and acres of food and things like that. There were wheat and stuff. It's just dust and barren. So they go further into the vault to find out to see dead bodies and what looked like a violent overtaking.
Yeah,
and
that's
go ahead.
Good. That's the next episode. Yeah, Norm.
That's also the next episode.
Yeah, Norm is curious as to what's going on and ends up sneaking in. What happens in episode 3 is, at this point, the Maximus / Titus and Thaddeus are also on the trail of Lucy and end up at the Gulper, the lake where the Gulper is, and they actually do get the head from the Gulper.
Yes. Oh, I was going to say, go ahead.
Yeah, let's say someone loses his boot inside the Gulper too. Like,
yes,
isn't that? Oh no. Maybe Lucy loses her boot. I just remember
Lucy
someone loses her boot.
Lucy loses the
Gulper.
Yeah.
And
because she has to walk barefoot for quite a while.
There you go.
But I was going to say, back to the vault. The reason why he goes further in the vault is because as he goes each day feeding these raiders, he eventually starts asking them questions, and he finds out that they have no idea what happened before they raided that vault as well. Like so there's been things that have been off. It wasn't like
they were all dead when
exactly.
The raiders say everybody was dead in Vault 32 when they got there.
Right, which makes him wonder what the hell happened before they even got there, which is why him and his cousin go in further. Oh, his cousin also at this point I think is starting to get closer to, I forget who this lady is, the pregnant lady.
Stephanie? Is it Stephanie?
I don't know what her name is.
Yes, it's Stephanie.
Stephanie Harper.
Mhm.
The character's name is Stephanie Harper.
Yeah.
Okay.
Her husband was killed during the raider attack, and Stephanie is just trying to take Norm and Lucy's cousin Chet and make him into her husband. Like she's putting him in his clothes, which are way too small for him.
Yes,
way too small. Just kind of like.
Because something we note too is like she was one of the ones that were kept separate when Moldaver had captured them, because as we kind of find out, like, oh, a couple of these people were from Vault 31, Stephanie and Betty and John McLean, Hank McLean.
Was Stephanie from Vault 31?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're introduced to her, and she's kind of off as a character to begin with. There's something a little bit off about her. She's very Stepford wife-ish to begin with already. So if you're a viewer, maybe you don't take it the same way as I did, but you're already kind of questioning her in general. She seems detached, a little aloof, but kind of weird. And then as the show goes on, you find out she is also from a transfer over, I guess, from the other vaults.
Is it episode 3 or 4? I think it's sometime in episode 4 where Chet and Stephanie are getting hot and heavy.
I think it's 3. I want to say it's 3.
There's some hand stuff going on, and then her water breaks.
Yeah, correct. Yeah,
and at some point, Norm comes up and says, "Hey, you want to get out of here?" And Chet is watching her in labor and goes like, "Yeah, I need to go." And that's why Chet accompanies Norm into Vault 32.
Yeah, and then I think we're left at the end of that. What are we left with at the end of that episode? Not much else.
Episode 3 with a flashback. Sorry, go ahead, Ken.
Oh,
I say probably something them discovering, like, oh hey, the members were long dead before we got here, and like there's very Fallout post-apocalyptic, like scrawling on the wall, like it was all a lie. Like there's hints to that they knew what had happened before.
Right, with the scribbling, yeah. But I want to say, to Pat's point, I think we've left out of episode 2 and 3 so far is that we've been flashing back to the ghoul in different parts of his life,
different time.
In episode 3,
yeah, good.
Go ahead.
No, in episode 2, we get to find out, when he first meets his wife, or not first meet, but we get introduced to his wife initially in episode 2. And we know him as the more successful actor before he became, the party favor later on in life. His daughter's there, so it's not too far removed from when the bombs first dropped. Age-wise, like she's around the same age-ish or whatever. So we know whatever's going to happen is going to happen in the flashback within a couple years span. But he's on the lot, and you find out he's kind of a big deal, and his wife is a big deal in a different regard. Then episode 3, we kind of get to find out why she's more of a big deal, and so he kind of gets sucked into being a mascot.
So Cooper Howard is a famous Hollywood Western actor. So he acts in Westerns. He's like the biggest Western actor around.
The less racist wife, John Wayne.
Yes. Yeah, yes. Much nicer than John Wayne.
Yes.
His wife is an executive at Vault Tech. So she has asked him to be the spokesperson for Vault Tech. So episode 3 ends with him doing the famous Pit Boy thumbs up, which they do in episode 1, point out that the thumbs up, you want to know how far a nuclear explosion is. You're far enough away if your thumb covers the mushroom cloud.
If it doesn't, you're in trouble. And I think his daughter asked the question
you're dead. It's fine.
Yeah.
You're done.
So, so that's how we kind of end that whole thing. And then we get into episode 4. And we'll finish this one for everybody.
Episode 4, The Ghouls.
All right, Pat, lead us off.
Well, we already talked about Vault 33. Chet needs to get away, so Norm and Chet go through Vault 32, and they see everybody's dead, and it's like, scrawled on the walls, it was a lie.
And they've been dead for a while.
Yeah, like this is not, like they're skeletons, not fresh meat, as it were. And Norm finds out that someone who let people in, they got into the Vault 32 using his mother's Pit Boy. So that cliffhanger thing. Ooh. Yeah. We then go back to the ghoul, who
Ghoul
encounters his. Go ahead.
No. I'm just saying, Ghoul and Lucy, they're together now.
Ghoul and Lucy, and they encounter the ghoul's friends Roger, who is another ghoul, and he is going feral. He is actively going feral. He's trying to fight against it, and he is asking for some sort of medicine that will help him not go feral. And as they're talking, they start reminiscing about the past pre-war. And as they're talking about food and things they enjoyed, when he's distracted, the ghoul shoots his friend Roger in the head. And
shocking the shit out of Lucy.
Yeah, shocking Lucy. And they start cutting meat off of him and taking his possessions. Lucy starts judging the ghoul, and the ghoul basically says, "Hey, you come over here and help."
Because Lucy is doing this.
Well, Lucy is still a vault dweller with some idealized ideas on how things work, and in the wasteland, it doesn't work that way.
Well, less of that. She just doesn't understand like what's going on out here as well.
Yeah. So the ghoul and her are going somewhere. Bleh. This is what happens at the end. Previously, Lucy had said the golden rule is do unto others as you would do unto you, as you would have them do unto you. And the ghoul quips that the actual golden rule of the wasteland is thou shalt get sidetracked by bullshit every goddamn time, which if you have played a Fallout game, that is truly the golden rule.
Yes. Side quest.
Cream, you can go ahead and talk about that finger thing that you were so hot about now.
I was only bringing it up because I was trying to figure out how exactly they got into it about that. Like
she took her chance to escape. She has been she needs water. The ghoul will not give her any water. It's kind of like he's trying to teach her a lesson. So she ends up drinking irradiated water from like a dirty puddle that makes her sick. At one point, the ghoul is distracted and she makes a run for it. The ghoul catches up to her as she's trying to escape. She bites off his finger. So then he cuts her index finger off and says, well, that's the first honest conversation we've had.
There we go. You're right. Okay. And then I think in episode 4, we get to his destination, right?
Yes.
The ghouls.
Yes.
Which is this supermart. essentially.
Which is, I mean, this is also like stuff in the game that I guess is not, or I don't know, I don't know if it's in the game or whatnot, but like, I guess I'm also jumping to the end of it, like, because it's a place that's run by essentially there's one bot that does all the work and two stoners that run it, and
So-
it's also sanctioned by the local government.
So
Quotations.
they end up at a super duper mart. I think it's a super duper mart, which is like the Walmart of Fallout, like the grocery store of Fallout.
That's an insult to Super Duper Mart, by the way, because like Walmart. Ugh. But
I
go on.
mean, fair enough. The ghoul trades Lucy for this medication he needs. Turns out there is a medication that if he breathes in will keep him from becoming a feral ghoul. Like it keeps them from going feral. So he needs more of the medication because when Lucy threw his bag in, it broke all of it. So he's trading her for said medication. She gets brought into the Super Duper Mart. As she is sitting there, she is actually first meets up with a robot named Stall. While I find the name Snip.
I mean,
robot's name-
I would say it's a bot that's voiced specifically by a rather well-known actor right now. That I also don't know that name either, so I don't know where I'm going.
Oh,
With
great
Stall,
to leave us on a cliffhanger.
Hey, I gave him time. Okay, that's my role here.
Matt
by chewing up more time
is the actor.
There you go. See.
Yes, if you know Matt Berry, if you were on TikTok from every What We Do in the Shadows video where they say Tucson, Arizona, and Devious Bastard in New York City. That's
my rotten soldier. My
they bring him on the show
cheese.
eventually at the end, right? Or like episode.
They do. He shows
yeah.
up he shows up later on, but he is the voice of Snip. And Snip shows kindness to Lucy. He attaches a new index finger for her. He just because it's Fallout, so he just kind of sews one on there, and everything's good to go.
Yeah, and it just
later
right
on,
back to again video game.
Yeah.
Just like it works.
video
Like,
game logic.
She has it's back to, although I think the ghoul spit out her finger. Did he not save it? Or
Well, he kept it because he sews that back on for him.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Yeah. So, everybody's having a good time.
Yeah.
It is then a real snip. So it's like, oh, I'm glad you're feeling better. Okay, I'm going to harvest your organs now. Because it turns out the robot, like these stoners and the robot harvest organs. So as she's about to get cut open and have her organs taken, Lucy fights back, damages Snip, and is able to escape with a weapon and threatens the two stoners. And
yes, and the two stoners are trying to explain to her because she's like, she sees a bunch of other ghouls in various states of transition or whatnot. They've captured all of them, and I think they were going to be harvesting their organs if they hadn't already done that. So she sees an opportunity to be the annoying hero that she is from the vault. So she tells them like, "Hey, let them out," and the guys are like, "All right, hey, whatever you want." So they let out, I think, like 22 different.
Most of them,
and most of them are very thankful, and they all leave her and the two guys. And then she sees, I think there's one or two other
three or four, that are still in there.
And then she says, "Let them out." And they're trying to explain to her, like, "No, we don't." And she, kind of threatens them some more. And they finally let the other ones out. And you find out, within a few minutes that, the reason why they didn't want to let them out is because those ones are feral.
Yeah.
And they immediately
they're going.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're right. They're going feral, if not already.
Yeah.
They start tearing up shit.
Yeah. One of them is still kind of almost there and is going feral in front of Lucy's eyes.
Like 95%.
And is talking and then going feral, and Lucy's just kind of please don't. And this is the first person Lucy kills, is this ghoul who's about to go feral. Some of the other ghouls end up killing the two stoners. Everything goes bad. Lucy grabs the chems that the ghoul was looking for.
At this point, the ghoul is passed out now because he's been out without chems for a while.
Yeah. He fell over. So Lucy exits the Super Duper Mart, basically tells the ghoul, "Hey, you're a piece of shit, but I'm not," and gives him the chems he needs and walks off to go find the head so she can get to Moldaver so she can find her dad. Because once again, to quote, "Thou shalt get sidetracked by bullshit every goddamn time."
Yeah, the ghoul at this point is like a fish out of water. He's barely gasping for whatever life he has left, and he's laying there. And she drops the medicine like right by his mouth, but not enough to help him. He has to kind of basically help himself. I think we leave him there, and then we jump over to Maximus. I think at this point,
Maximus is not in this episode. That would be episode 5.
Okay, well then we don't jump over to him. Do we get more of the ghoul's backstory? Because I know that there's not just that main story. There's another thing going on.
There is, but it's the second half where we start to get more.
Oh, more of his story. Okay, well then I think that's the end of that. So yeah, she leaves him or says, hey, good luck on your own. Oh, I think he actually does eventually come to, gets into the Super Duper Mart and finds a cornucopia of drugs.
Yeah,
all the drugs.
He's so happy. He's so happy.
Yeah. That's the next episode, though, right? Am I? Yeah. It's fine. We can blur or whatever. We're on our own timelines, folks. This is how we do things.
Well, we'll leave it at that though, because that is at least the first half of the show is where she leaves him and then moves on.
I would tend to agree that there's a lot of fan service here. The show does a really, really good job of like little Easter eggs everywhere that if you've played the game, the Fallout universe, they all pop up. Plot wise, it's a little wonky. It kind of like just kind of keeps hurtling forward, whether there's some logical leaps, but very entertaining, I would say.
I'd mentioned this to someone else I'd recommended the show to. I was not a avid or huge Fallout gamer. I had played Vegas a little bit. I played more of the Wasteland series. But going into the show, I was saying that not that you necessarily need to suspend disbelief because they follow their own universe's rules for whatever is going on in it. But I don't think you need to necessarily have a full backstory on any of this, and I think they do a good job of interlacing some of what you need to know through the ghoul. As far as like, hey, how did this kind of start? They kind of breadcrumb that out to you throughout the show. Lucy's character is kind of your present day eyesight, and then all there's all the other characters in the world around it. But I would like to say that if you're thinking about watching the show and you're like, well, I never played the game, and is it like the Marvel universe where I need to have watched this or played this or know this? I don't think you do. I think if you take the show as is and to the wonkiness of like, hey, a dog can get shot and you inject it with a needle and it's right back up and you don't question where the wound goes. If you can take that ride, I think you're going to have a really good time with this show. And if you want to play the game afterwards, I think it inspired sales of that game from Bethesda Softworks or whatnot. Like there was a spike in people wanting to play 4 and 76 after the show came out.
It's worth noting, though, too, they also gave away as part of cross promotion between Game Pass and also Amazon Prime connected with Twitch. You can get free copies of the game, too. So like they were like, hey, have a free copy and come join the game because they know that you're going to spend money on atoms and potentially an expansion. But also, like, that just gets you more invested in the world, which is a smart move. It's really good.
And I don't know which one came first. Was it the promotion or was the reviews of the game? Because I feel like the reviews of the game led them to be like, "Oh, people like this. Let's give them."
Oh no, it definitely wasn't. It definitely wasn't the reviews of 76 because people hated 76 to start.
No, I'm saying reviews of the show that they were like, "Push out 76. Like let that be the free one we get."
Oh, like reinvigorate it. You mean?
Yeah,
I believe
probably
that's called synergy. Kareem.
You sound like Vault Tech, but yes, you're absolutely correct.
What? Nothing. Come on. What's going on?
Well, I to your point, Ken, like, 76 came out and it was kind of like Cyberpunk where it was like trash on arrival. And they've worked it, massaged it over the last, was it 3 years now?
3 or 4. I heard it's like it's supposed to be pretty.
Maybe 5.
Pre-pandemic.
Right before the pandemic.
Before, yeah.
But either way, like it's a worthwhile.
2018.
Jesus. Way before the pandemic.
God bless it. This was on the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4.
Wow. So maybe that was the reason because they had 4. When did 4 come out? Because I felt
4 came out 2014, 15.
And then 76 came out and people were like, what is this garbage? You rushed out something and it wasn't
well
complete.
It's even beyond that. Fallout has always been a single player game. It has been a solitary, like you explore the world. Changing it to a multiplayer, kind of massive multiplayer game changes the fundamental dynamic of how you play the game. So,
agreed. And I mean, at the time, Bethesda was also known for more bugs than gameplay. That was kind of the running joke. So 76 coming out was kind of like, hey, in line with that.
I will say this though, coming into it 6 years later, from what I've seen, and also because they built in they put in like a passive mode, not passive mode, they call it something else, but like this seems to be a far more supportive game than others. Like there's not a lot of griefing, but also you can't really grief too much. And so there's definitely a good community aspect to it. Like people who've been playing for years and like watching YouTube videos now, like, oh no, like there's a good, it doesn't feel as toxic as when I was playing GTA Online. Like GTA Online was just like, oh no, how could I kill everyone? Let's all do this. Let's all kill each other. And this is not that vibe. Like people tend to help and like, oh hey, here, have some armor. Drop this for you. Have a weapon. You might use this.
I wonder if it has to do with if I had to guess, the scarcity in distance between people, that the interactions are more valued. Because again, if you're in Grand Theft Auto and I walk out of my apartment and there's 13 people right in front of me, I can kill all 13 of them and 16 more right down the corner. It's like, all right, I don't value any interaction with you. If I don't see you, if I'm walking around and I don't see another person for 5 or 10 minutes, then the likelihood of me wanting to murder them and not see another person for another makes the game more boring for me, and personally speaking.
I think GTA lends itself to more violence interpersonal than this does. Like this has more environmental stuff you can fight. Also, I think it's around the same amount of players per map, but maybe because it's a bigger map.
For GTA, I think GTA is more dense.
I was gonna say because the thing is, because there is that PvP aspect. There's 15 people outside of your apartment because they saw you log in and everyone drove over to your apartment. So all 15 of them can kill you. And then when someone else signs on, the 16 of you go to the other person's house to go kill them. And it's because that's kind of the vibe of GTA, as opposed to maybe again, this is coming to it 6 years after release, or, close to 5 years after release. It's very much more like, oh no, it seems more supportive, but it's because there is because there's in GTA, it's you versus the other players for the majority of that game online. There's not a lot of like, hey, let's all of us go fight the rad roaches and the Mirelurks and things like that. Like there's not a lot of PvE. It's just there to fight other people.
Okay.
For the most part, eventually you could do heists, but I mean, you could do before they introduced heist into the online aspect. It was just like there's some races, and then there was some just straight up versus stuff. There wasn't a lot of like environmental stuff you could do in the world that was super engaging. That's the way I felt, at least.
Okay. Ken, I think you really did hit the nail on the head as well. Is that the environment of Fallout is trying to kill you so much, you don't have as much time to go kill other players. Like, oh no, I'm too busy trying. Like there are scorched and ghouls and Mirelurk queens and all sorts of trash trying to get me. I got killed by an alien the other day. Dick move alien. Stuff.
Yeah, like they introduce event stuff. So it's like in the middle of GTA, if they had events like, oh yeah, there's gonna be a little alien, like aliens are gonna land and attack this area, like that'd put you and that make you and your other humans band together to kill those aliens. That doesn't happen in GTA. But they have those events. I had one I was wandering along and it's like, oh, you're in an event area, setting off a flare. I sent off a flare and a bunch of Scorched attacked me. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I'm now defending this base area, this place versus Scorched. And then I defeated them all, and one guy showed up for the care package. Like, oh, hey, didn't we do great? I'm like, you weren't here for any of this. But since I don't have to fight him for loot, it didn't matter.
Yeah.
But
no, I guess that makes the difference in it. Yeah. With that being said, I still recommend the show. And again, I don't think you need to play or have listened to the last 10 minutes of us talk about the game in order to get something from the show. I think the actors are great in it. What plot that there is, I think they do well explaining that plot. Again, if it's not to your liking, I understand. Like, hey, you might want more questions answered. You want more things exposed or in depth follow through. I get that, but at least the base plot is going. It does well.
And
And then again, like I said, you just have really good actors in a lot of these roles.
And we still got 4 more episodes to go, guys. And it
gets
is
better.
something to be said. Yeah, it's been good so far. Yeah, but the second half really like starts to dive into. It does answer some questions. It does get, even for those that have played the game, more Fallout-y. Stuff gets weirder, which is always a good sign.
You get a Fred Armisen cameo.
We do. We get a Fred Armisen cameo. A John Daly cameo.
Yeah, there you go.
So, yeah, we'll be back.
Stay tuned. Yeah, we'll be back with some more.
Yeah. Fallout. War changes a little bit occasionally, but not a lot.
The profiteering doesn't. Profiteering always stays the same.
Yeah,
sweet cheddar. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Dun, 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 dun.